Welcome back, everybody. I am Carix, and we are continuing as the Ottomans in this beginner playthrough where we're going sort of thematically. We're asking questions and answering those things. We're seeing events that are talking about new concepts and exploring those concepts as they fluidly come up, right? What we are trying to do is present the game in a way that we can learn things based on what we know, right? We can build up more concepts on top of what we know and not assuming anything about like previous knowledge of the game, right? So this means that we're going much slower. We're going thematically. We're sort of going thinking in terms of roleplay, but we're also thinking with a strategic mind, right? The war against Albania was just a strategic opportunity, right? We're assessing our opportunities in our unique situation. So really, I think ideally it would have made a lot of sense to just go right for Constantinople during that moment of strife between them and Venice. But now that we've done this, we've actually really weakened Venice. Venice actually has rebels over here sieging down this land. I'm just noticing this, right? Just things that I'm observing on the map. We know that Byzantium is allied to Serbia. Serbia has 7,000 troops here that are drilling and ready, kind of doing their thing. Funny thing is, drill reduces your ability to fight. Remember how we talked about that? We could look to see if they had any forts in the region. Wow, Serbia actually has 2 forts, but they're all up here. What I'm going to do is, I think we got a few issues here. We need to roll another general. And here, okay, so we need to get these guys over here. We're going to be attacking Byzantium very, very quickly. I want a general to be able to fight the Serbians here. As soon as the war breaks out, we're going to do a decisive ambush of Constantinople and of this province over here. We're going to need to get our fleet sort of ready to go as best as it can be. It looks like we have one ship that is repairing, but the rest of the fleet is good to go. We do need to train another military leader because we have 2 army groups right now, and we only have 1 leader. So let's go to military. Let's go down here and roll another general. Although we did talk about how there was something with the estates, which we haven't talked much about the estates recently. But let's actually get that other sort of modifier. It's in the nobility, right? It's in the nobility where we can actually do this. And that'll make it cheaper to get generals. We do lose some army tradition. That's a bummer. But it will make it cheaper to get generals until we deactivate that. So that's going to pay off dividends long term. So we only have 21 army tradition. That's a bummer. We had 36. But we're going to get this for a little bit of a military cost discount. And we will train a general here. And we got a 2-2. You know what? That's totally fine. 2 shock is very powerful. The general here is a 1-2-2, so it's a better general, but this will be good enough considering we will overwhelm them. Plus, I don't think they're going to actually be combat ready here. We're going to move these guys into position here. September 7th, they'll get there. September 6th, they'll get there. And September 6th, we will declare the war. And hopefully we'll be able to just swoop in and... Actually, I'm going to wait one day. The reason is I don't want to scare Serbia too quickly. I want them to, right now they're drilling. I don't want them to like undo that. You know what I mean? I want them to really lock in good. At the end of the month, I think their morale here, that little green bar right there should go to 0. Kind of like how it's 0 over here in Byzantium. Byzantium has definitely stopped its drilling. I think it was drilling and now it's undrilled because it knows. The AI is really smart. They know that we're sort of gearing up for war against them. Serbia, unfortunately, can't really detect that very well. 1, because we don't have troops here. 2, because they can't really like understand how the alliance connection works between them and Serbia and us. So, and they just know that we have no reason to attack Serbia. We have no cause for war against Serbia. If I go to Serbia here, try to declare war on Serbia, there's no cause for war, no casus belli. It's going to cause stability issues, aggressive expansion issues, all kinds of negative issues, right? And Serbia knows that we don't want to do that, but what they're not quite accounting for is the fact that we do have a reason to attack Byzantium, and that'll call them into the war, and ultimately they're gonna pay the price here of being kind of like just a silly computer. We have a lot of money though. One thing I think I wanted to talk about was what can we do with this money? What can we do with this money? We don't have any debts. We got a lot of this from Venice, right? We're making money. I'm actually going to disable the war taxes. Now, those only activate if you're at war. So now that we're at peace, we're not paying that cost. But I'm going to make sure that's off because I don't think we're going to need this against the Byzantiums and the Serbians. I think our economy will be able to hold during that time. We're paying a lot of money in forts right now. Are there any particular forts that are just not feeling it? I don't know if, well, This is not a great fort here. This is a beautiful fort that we took from Albania. This is a mountain fort. Beautiful. Very good defensive position there. And it's sort of like, it really sort of halts people from marching this direction. This fort right here, though, honestly, in Macedonia, I don't know about this one. This is costing us a ducat a month, and it's in a farmland, so we don't really want to fight there. I think we'd rather push our forts up here more, into the woods at the very least, or into the hills, into the woods, into the marshes. Like a marsh fort right there would be pretty good, right? That'd be a pretty good place for a fort. Heck, if we could take this province and get a mountain fort like up there, that'd be great. That's, of course, in the future, right? That's far in the future, but I don't think we want to pay for that fort there. I just don't think it's doing anything for us right now. It doesn't create a good defensive position for us to fight on. This is a hills, at least, and this is hills, this is highlands, this is woods, and this is mountains. So mountains kind of being the best case scenario. Actually, what do we have over here? Do we have mountains over here? We're close to some mountains. This is a good mountain province. We'll probably want that eventually. That'd be an amazing fort position right there in this entire ecosystem down here to kind of like block enemy movements and stuff too. Maybe even a fort up here. There's some good stuff. Uh-oh, guys. I apologize, guys. Ignore that sound. Thanks everybody for being here, though, guys. Okay. So I think we're going to wait one day. We are going to be attacking Byzantium soon. What were we doing with our money? That's right. We wanted to look at our money situation. Well, we could buy a bunch of ships, right? We could just keep building our trade fleet. It is true that one thing we could think about is just getting more galleys so we can have more naval dominance. Venice is still more powerful than us in the seas, but light ships are not completely incapable of fighting. So maybe just getting more light ships would be a good thing. We could go over our force limit a little bit. They do tend to pay for themselves. So I don't mind going over a naval force limit of 28 and getting 30 by getting some extra light ships. We'll have 10 light ships. That's a good trade fleet right there. We'll want to continue to get more and more of those because they should be able to pay for themselves at peace, right? But we're not going to be at peace. We're going to be at war here in a second. We could, of course, just get more army units as well. We're at 35 out of 44. We do have a mission, right? We still have a mission to get to our full force limit. So we could try to do that. But army units are going to cost us a lot over here in terms of our total upkeep. I don't know if we really want to do that. Now, we can train more of those elite units, and we could train those guys for free by spending military power. We've just gotten a new technology, so we're way ahead on technology. We're way ahead of our neighbors on technology, so we're not really like hurting too much in terms of military power. But we do also want to spend some of this military power to sort of basically build up our own land. These guys actually would be a good job to kind of sweep over here and actually do a little bit here. Oh, Venice or Athens. I forgot about Athens. Athens is going to be called into the war too, because they're a vassal of Byzantium, so we're going to be fighting Venice as well. So getting these guys down here to actually sort of stand against Venice will be good. Is there anything that we can do? Did we get any new? I think we got a new kind of building, right? Aha. We can build marketplaces, which increase local trade power. That's very good. Some good places we can maybe do that. We can also get mosques, and mosques are going to be fantastic, right? This is going to be more local tax. In fact, this mosque cost us 100 gold, right? And we're going to increase our monthly tax income by 0.2. Pretty good. We could do the math on how many years it'll take for that to pay for itself. It's only going to take like 50 years. This game you can play for almost 400 years. This is getting a return on investment after like 50, 60 years. That's amazing. This is really, really good for bolstering our long-term economy and making it so we have a better budget margin, right? So investing in our country and building buildings is really, really important. So we're going to spend all 300 ducats to get 3 really powerful mosques and increase local taxation in some of those areas. We have our Genoan spy is getting enough here that we could get a spy network over here in Genoa. That's going to give us 2 claims on Genoa, right? 2 different reasons to attack Genoa here. Those would be very good, powerful provinces to have in terms of controlling trade in this region. Now, we have lazy diplomats. How's Poland feeling about us? We could butter them up. We could sort of top them off, so to speak. We could look for any other... Ooh, Bohemia. Bohemia. Interesting. Bohemia is a Christian nation that is sort of sympathetic to our cause here. We know we're allied with Nogai. We're not quite allied yet with QQ, but they like us. They're at war with, it looks like some sort of nation. We can go into the diplomatic screen to see which one. They're at war with these guys down here, so they're actually getting a little stronger by beating up on some little guys. The Mamluks don't like us. Tunis, we could try to butter them up a little bit more. I'm just thinking we don't really want to have wasted diplomats, right? We want our diplomats to be doing things that are logical. We don't need the spy network on Genoa anymore because we, for the most part, once you get a couple claims, it's more expensive to get more, so we don't need to have that guy sitting there forever. It's unnecessary. I completely forgot we were going to attack. Let's get these guys into position. Let's get ready to attack. There we go. Serbia's still has no clue what's going on, but Byzantium knows. Byzantium knows. Let's go, guys. Time to attack. Take Constantinople. That's the war goal, conquest Constantinople. We do have claims on some of their other provinces, so if we get really sort of greedy, we can see we can assess the situation once we win the war, how much we actually want to take. We have reasons, we have justification to take more than just Constantinople, though. That's important. We've laid the groundwork to getting more than that. We're going to get some legalism because they're an Orthodox nation. That's good. We're trying to get more legalism. That's all good. We are going to be fighting Athens and Serbia. Serbia is going to be fine to beat up, but we don't really have any reason to take their land right now. Of course, strategically, we want their land. They have a gold province right here. That could really bolster our economy if we took that. We'll have to see what the diplomatic effect of taking their land without cause to take their land is like. But we can see down here that we have a huge, massive military advantage. We can see there's 7,000 troops here. There's 7,000 troops here. That counts for 14,000 troops. We're only missing 1,000 troops. There's only 1,000 troops that are missing somewhere. And it looks like those 1,000 troops are Athenian infantry. There's some Athenian troops here, basically. But this is going to be pretty clean. This war is going to be over in a flash of an eye because we've just prepared well for this one, and we're just more powerful. I'm going to actually move these guys over here just to make sure that Athens doesn't build up more troops. We're going to move these guys into here, and we're going to simultaneously do 3 attacks on one day. It is the first of the month, so they won't be able to sort of adjust themselves. Oh, they're going. They're moving. So there's a few things. Okay, this is interesting. Here's the thing. This sword right here says that we will engage. There is going to be a battle here. We've caught them. It's telling us, the game, these swords are telling us that our troops here have caught their troops and they cannot escape in time. What I noticed over here, I'm sorry, let me break this down. What I'm noticing over here is that these guys can move between these provinces faster than we want. So if I go to here, they can slip away to Zeta. If I go to here, they'll just decide, oh, I'm not going to move to Zeta. I changed my mind. The thing is, there is something in the game called a lock-in. There's a little, and you can see over here that our troops are locked in. We cannot change our mind with our troops. If we try to move these guys, we can't. They're going that way no matter what we do. They are going to Constantinople. They are locked in. Once you've moved 50% of the distance towards the province you're trying to go to, the time it takes to get from one province to another, because it takes time. One thing we haven't considered is it takes a certain amount of days to get here. Right? It's going to take us 8 days to move there, for example. These guys are not locked in. So if we attack here, what they're going to do is they are literally going to just sidestep it. They're like, fine, we're not going there. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to come this way. We just won the battle for Constantinople. And we're going to just sort of get them this way. That's not as ideal because now we're fighting in the mountains. I think and we beat them because they had no morale. They were drilling their troops. They were literally training and just drilling. They were completely ambushed. They had no idea what was going on. So they didn't have any morale to fight. They actually had just no means to fight, really. Okay, so I'm going to split. We don't need 20,000 dudes sitting on Constantinople. We only need 9,000. So we're taking unnecessary attrition here. And I don't need we don't need to be taking attrition with our elite units. We don't need to be taking attrition with our cavalry. Those are very expensive. Okay, maybe we will have some of our elite units standing there. Okay, so I'm basically, I went in and I basically selected one of the groups and I split the army, right? I created a new unit. We now have our 10,000 standing on Constantinople to siege it with our general, who's a siege general. So that's really, really good. And we're going to take our other 10,000 troops, including our expensive cavalry, and we're going to move them down here to come beat up these guys. Cavalry are really, really good at looting, so we can have them come down here and actually loot a lot of the land. What I'm noticing down here is they're training troops. It's a very subtle little thing right here, but it says that they're trying to field an army down here. We don't really want that. We want to prevent Byzantium from fielding an army. So I'm going to take these troops. I'm going to split them. It's going to take these troops, create a new unit, grab 1,000, select this unit, and essentially We do not have military access to get over here, unfortunately. Yikes. We could use our navy to circumvent that issue. We could use our navy to transport a singular guy. We still want to get over to here at least. And we can still walk to here. But I'm worried about how we get over to here. We could ask for military access here, and that'd be a done deal. Let's do it for now, a temporary military access through Epirus. Okay, let's get another 1,000, and these times these guys will be able to sort of navigate through Epirus here. Or just, the fort here was blocking the means, but now that we have the military access, it's sort of letting us sidestep the fort because we already have military access this way. So we should be able to get there and get here before these troops are trained. It says that these troops will be fielded on the 23rd of December. It's October. So it's going to take way too long for those troops to sort of form up. That's going to be totally fine. Over here, we can see that we have wiped out the Serbian military. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our troops in here. We need to basically carpet siege their country with this stack over here. This guy does not have any siege pips. I'm going to go 1 day because we don't have control. We just fought a battle here, so we didn't have control of these guys. I'm going to get rid of this general because we don't need him. He doesn't have any siege benefit, so he has no benefit to us here. We can see that the Serbians are trying to field an army too. They're trying to build back up an army. We're going to detach siege a bunch of times. This is going to drop off 1,000. You can see 1,000 guys are getting detached. And we're just making a big group here. And essentially, we're going to take the big stack onto the fort and sit on the fort. The rest of these little guys are going to spread themselves out. I'm going to hit V. Move V. Move V. And that's detaching. What that's doing is that's deselecting one of these units. And 3,000 of them will go to the capital. And there we go. We have carpets. We're carpet sieging them, basically. All these little provinces that don't have forts, those will fall quickly. The fort province is going to take more time and more men to sit on here. It's going to take exactly 6,000, I believe. Yep, 6,000 guys. We have 6,000 on there. Perfect. We're taking a little bit of attrition, so we'll need to reinforce with an extra 1,000. It's nice to have an extra 1,000 there. This fort down here is going to also take 6,000. We've at least sieged these ones. Oh, time's moving fast. We could go down to speed 2 if it's going a little too fast for us. So let's get over here and let's siege down Athens, and then we'll move on to here. We don't have enough men down here to deal with this. Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because we just got some more guys here. So let's get these. Actually, let's get an extra 1,000 there. Let's get an extra 1,000 here. Because that'll give us that little bit of buffer, right? And let's get these dudes to actually go. I guess they'll... this is where the Athens Army is, apparently. Now, cavalry doesn't fight. You don't want cavalry to fight by itself. Here, this is not good. Let's fight these guys in a 10-to-1 ratio. Beat them up, and then we'll do what we just did. I didn't realize that the Athens Army was over here. The Athens Army of only 1,000 guys. I'm not particularly scared of it, but there you go, right? There we go. It wasn't... we didn't get the 10-to-1 because we took a little bit of attrition there, I think, before we got over there. These 2,000 need to go into there. We'll give them 3,000 cav. We'll make another unit of 1,000, give them a little bit of a buffer on Athens, because 3,000 units is just exactly the amount you need. So if you take a little bit of attrition, it'll be a little too low. Over here, we're doing a good carpet siege, but you see a little bit of attrition here has caused an issue. So let's get these guys to sort of bolster themselves. Otherwise, these guys are to just hang out and loot the provinces. This guy's looting provinces every month. We're taking from this money here. There's money to be had here. There's a good amount of money to be had here. And we can just sort of sit on them and get spoils of war from that. So let's make sure... Let's get our navy out here and doing something at this point. Looks like the Serbia has a single ship. We can come and ambush that there. And maybe capture it for ourselves and just sort of wipe out their navy while they're isolated. The Byzantians have a pretty strong navy, but I think at this point ours is stronger. Looks like the Athens navy is actually sort of dispatching out of their harbor. And they're rejoining up with the Byzantine Navy as well. This isn't ideal, but I think we're going to try to fight this. If we look at the total numbers here, they have 10 galleys, we have 8. So, and galleys are very important. We do have a lot more cogs, so we have more sort of like health. Our navy has like higher durability. They also might be scared to engage us here. It doesn't look like they actually have a very good admiral, so it could be that our admiral will actually deter them from wanting to engage. It looks like the Byzantines, I should say. I'm sorry, guys. I'm being a doofus here trying to flip between Byzantium and whatever. I don't know. I'm being a doofus, guys. I don't mean to be a doofus. We captured a ship. We captured a ship. A cog. It's better than nothing, I guess. We can sell it or destroy it or something. There is a blockade going on. So it looks like there's an event for this. Administrative power, or we could actually sort of take some unrest in the area of, whoops, Sugla. Oh, it's just, that's fine. A little bit of unrest here is not a big deal. I don't want to pay administrative power. Forget that. Forget that. Sorry, guys, a sneeze there. Okay, we're back. We've completed a mission. Trustworthy allies, or allies like us. Let's go. We get some extra diplomatic reputation. That could actually potentially help us in vassalizing Ragusa. And here's the interesting thing. Ragusa is being attacked by rebels. They might actually appreciate us helping them with that rebel threat. That's kind of interesting. Because I'm saying that have they changed their opinion of us here? Ragusa is a member of the Empire. You know what? Forget this. We need to revoke the guarantee. This is ridiculous. Now they're a member of the Empire, apparently. Yikes. So the Empire is spreading, I guess. So the Holy Roman Empire is something that the German states and the Italian states are sort of joining up and doing their thing. Austria is trying to expand the influence of that significantly. This is kind of annoying because this is going to be a big blob, a unified conglomerate that's going to try to prevent our Ottoman ambitions. But hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it just won't be a big deal. But if Ragusa is a member of the HRE at this point, the Holy Roman Empire, then they can protect themselves. Austria can deal with them. We'll let Austria deal with them. We're going to drop that, and we're not going to have that diplomatic access anymore. That diplomatic relation is going to cost us diplo points. Let's cancel military access here, and we shouldn't have... There we go. We no longer have too many diplomatic relations. We had that for a few years, kind of a bummer, but we're good to go now. We're good to go now. This war is won, by the way. The war is won. We're just waiting for sieges. But the war is won. What we could try to do is we could bring the troops back. We could unify... Actually, wait a second. How's the looting going? We could have you loot... Oh, no, well, the looting's done. Bring these guys back. And we could either have these calves loot this area, or what we could do is we could look towards the Crimean separatists. And we could try to actually get them gone, basically. The other thing we could do is actually, let's build a spy network on Crimea. What the heck? Potentially go to war with Crimea in the future. There's so many good opportunities for wars. The Ottomans is just insane. I mean, we know we want to do a big war against Karaman. We're doing this war against Constantinople. That's going to be huge for us. Lots of power gained from that. Let's go down here and repair our ships really quick. And once these ships are repaired, I think we're going to actually sort of try to get in here and engage with the fleet. And show naval dominance over Constantinople. Because right now, there's actually a modifier with the siege. We're getting a -2 here because the forts are not blockaded. We're sieging this fort, but they're just getting supplies from the sea. They're like, everything's fine here. We're still getting our food. We can't starve them out of the city, right? If we're not actually imposing like a blockade. Makes sense. Let's go up to speed 3 because the war is won. The war is decisively won. Oh, a new button has appeared. Look at that. A new button has appeared, a new banner. You can enact government reforms. Okay, so government reforms, we haven't talked about this, but if you go to the government tab, there's a little tab in here, kind of like with the institution tab in the technology. It's like a sub-tab of the government tree. We can click on this, and we can see we can actually we can work on government reforms, which is really, really cool. Really, really cool. Whoops. We can spend some reform progress to actually increase our governing capacity. We haven't talked about that metric because we haven't needed to talk about that metric yet. The Ottoman government. We get some benefits for the Ottoman government. We have a special, unique government type as the Ottomans. Very cool. But we can actually sort of butter up the nobility here and get some extra national manpower modifier. Manpower is actually starting to come around, but it's nowhere near its maximum capacity, right? We can also do here and get a little bit of a tax modifier. This will this will actually decrease the. It's saying the clergy influence will be -10%. I don't know if I actually like decreasing their influence by negative 10%. Yeah, maybe we go with the manpower. Manpower is definitely still struggling to sort of get up to a good, healthy number. So maybe we just strengthen the noble privileges. We hit this button, and there we go. We spend our government reform, and we'll slowly be building this up. It seems like it just builds up passively over time, right? It's going up by 0.8 every month due to a bunch of different factors. Size of country, right? The bigger a country is, the harder it is to reform our government. The smaller it is, the faster we can reform it. But we're working on just these different reforms. And it's sort of a tier, we're at a tier 2 government. But this is basically, this isn't something you have to learn. It's just different little interesting choices you'll be able to make as time goes on. But that's kind of automatically working in the background. We haven't talked about that. That's a DLC feature, and we hadn't talked about it. It's just sort of happening. It's just sort of happening. Athens is definitely pillaged to its full potential. We could send these Cav up here, because Cav are very good at stealing the riches of the provinces. So we could do that. I think we said that we wanted to, that's right, we wanted to send the Navy here and see what we could do. Looks like, for the most part, they're keeping their Navy docked. Yeah, they're scared. They're scared of our Navy. Let's get our Navy in there and show dominance. Let's show dominance. That's going to reduce that negative modifier here is now gone. The -2 is now gone. But this is still a really tough one. This is a good castle on Constantinople. This is not going to fall easily, but we're working on it. 7% here, down here in this province. We're at -14% there, but making progress there. We are -28% in both of those. Sort of micromanaging. Oh, looks nice. These guys have fallen. Perfect. Good, good, good. We can actually try to start to get these guys over here to deal with the Crimean separatists. Let's move those guys up here to be able to sort of be boated across to Crimea to deal with that, because those guys are getting a little bit upset. We can get some prestige. A new consort. We can lose administrative power to get a 336 consort. Now, the consort isn't really that big of a deal. She takes over if we don't have an heir. So a 336 is definitely better than a 233, right? We don't even have an heir right now at all. But we'd lose administrative power to do this. I don't know if we really care that much, because the queen doesn't typically take over the country. Usually it's going to be the heir, right? And with the Sultan, I think it is going to be a male, but in other, like for Castile or whatever, that could totally be an heir could be a queen or a daughter. A daughter could be an heir. In fact, there's no heir for Castile at all, which is kind of interesting. They don't even have an heir. And it looks like actually the heir for Aragon is weak. But typically there's something that happens when Aragon and Castile have different opposite. They sort of have this Iberian wedding, and they form Spain, basically, is sort of what goes on there. Or at least they get one step closer to forming Spain by unifying their countries in a big, giant royal marriage. Super special one. Yeah, I think for the most part, we're just going to take the prestige. I don't think we really need to be spending administrative power to switch out the queen. Basically, we're getting a divorce, right? That's essentially what that event is saying, basically. Is, how much are we paying with this extra navy, right? We're over a naval force limit. That's going to cost an economic penalty, but we're only paying 0.15 ducats per month. That's nothing. Let's make sure that these Cav are doing their job. Yep, there's still money here to loot. It looks like they're looting about 1.2 ducats per month. That's good spoils of war right there. We're moving towards legalism if we have the choice. Yeah, let's keep moving towards legalism. Keep moving towards legalism. We might actually want to seize land from these guys, right? Because our crown land's only at 30%. There might be some benefits to getting a little higher on that. Can use Muslim piety interaction. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have a Muslim piety interaction to be able to move 50 towards mysticism. So we can move down this progress. We have 80 legalism points out of 100. And we can move down this to reduce corruption. But our corruption's at 0. We don't need to reduce corruption. Now, there's something that we haven't talked about here. We actually have the option to debase our currency. We can debase currency to add corruption and get an influx of cash. So we can get 200 ducats at the cost of some corruption. It's like a different alternative to taking a loan. It's like you need money, you can debase your currency, or you can take a loan. A loan basically gives you interest. Debasing currency gives you corruption, which you have to buy down over time, right? The interesting thing is this lets us just remove the 2 corruption. So we could get 2 corruption, get some money, and then just remove it. But here's the thing. You know what's more valuable than 200 gold right now? all the benefits we're getting from this. We're getting 15% national tax modifier. We're getting 15% national manpower modifier, 7.8% technology cost reduction, wowzers, and some other good benefits there too. That's more valuable than getting a little bit of money. So I think for the most part, we're just going to want to hang out up here in the high legalism. That's going to be good for us. So we don't really care that much about that, to be honest. I'm just going to right click that to get that gone. 42% on Constantinople, not making as much progress over here, it seems. These guys, I think, can sort of shuffle over if they want. Start working over there. And for the most part, guys, this war is won. We have some troops over here that are ready to sort of move over to Crimea to deal with the unrest when that happens. But I think for the most part, we need to take a pause in this episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching another one. Let's continue it in the next episode where we will finish the war. We'll finish these sieges, finish the war on Byzantium here, and we'll be able to look into the future and continue to sort of explore some of these other systems and stuff. We need to figure out this Renaissance thing. This Renaissance thing is actually going to get us. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next episode too. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.